This is Bill Windsor in downtown Phoenix, Arizona, right in the midst of all the various court and government buildings. I'm here today to tell you the story about Sabrina Morrison. Sabrina Morrison is one of the victims who was ignored by Sheriff Joe Arpaio in the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. On March 7th, 2007, when she was 13 years old, Sabrina Morrison was raped by her uncle. She told her teacher the next day that her uncle, Patrick Morrison, had raped her. The teacher did as she was supposed to do and called the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. A rape kit was taken, but for unexplained reasons, the detective who was assigned to the case said there was no apparent signs of a sexual assault. As a result of this detective's statements, little Sabrina was branded a liar by her family. Her uncle, Patrick Morrison, continued to rape her, and he said he would kill her if she told anybody. Her uncle got her pregnant, and this little girl had to have an abortion. All this time, the family didn't know that the rape kit had been tested and there had been semen found. The lab involved requested a blood test, but instead of obtaining the blood sample or making an arrest, the detective involved closed the case. Investigations brought to light the fact that the staff of investigators in the sex crimes division were often pulled off for other cases. Things like cases involving the Arizona Diamondbacks baseball team that had nothing to do with sex crimes. The county supervisors realized that there was a need for greater resources involving sex crimes, so they allocated an additional $600,000. This money was to fund 6 additional detective positions. All of this money was to be used to investigate child abuse cases. But no detectives were hired, and none of that money was spent for that purpose. Sheriff Joe Arpaio's office says they're not sure where that money went or what it was used for. Finally, in September 2011, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office obtained a blood sample from Patrick Morrison. I'm sure you've already anticipated what the result is. The blood sample matched the semen. And finally, on February 29th, 2012, Patrick Morrison was arrested for the rape of young Sabrina. This was almost 5 years after the rape was initially reported and the rape kit was taken. They only charged Patrick Morrison with 1 count of improper sexual conduct with a minor. They didn't pursue the many other rapes. Patrick Morrison ultimately pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 24 years in prison. In August 2012, Sabrina Morrison filed a $30 million notice of claim, which is something you file prior to a lawsuit, against Joe Arpaio and Maricopa County for gross negligence. I hope Sabrina Morrison gets much more money than that for the rape that was inflicted upon her by Sheriff Joe Arpaio and the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department. If the Sheriff's Office had simply done the most basic job, that little girl would have been protected from repeated rapes, from being impregnated by her uncle, and from having to go through an abortion, and from undoubtedly living all those years in fear, from being scorned by her family as a liar when she was telling the truth and nothing but the truth. We have to listen to the children, we have to protect the children, and we need to eliminate people like Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who would allow something like this and many other cases to be ignored on his watch. ABC's Nightline learned that out of 7,346 sex crimes or abuse crimes reported to the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, only 944 had been resolved with an arrest. The rest just went away. We have a crisis in America of dishonesty and of corruption in our government, in our judiciary, with law enforcement, and it's got to stop. We have to wake up people in America to realize that things like this happen. Sabrina Morrison could be your daughter or your granddaughter or the next door neighbor's child. This has to stop. This is Bill Windsor reporting for Lawless America from downtown Phoenix, Arizona.